Right. Okay, so I think I've got a Bluetooth mic in place. Oh, I got bars on the screen. I've got my phone flipped around. I can see myself. This is my mirror. I haven't woken up this morning and looked in a mirror. Make sure that I'm presentable for television. Thank you for being here with me. You just stumbled across my YouTube video, which is anyone really who's found this video has probably stumbled across this YouTube video. Look, I apologise for a few things. That's not the way to start a video. I don't have to apologise for anything, but your time's important. Excuse me, what? Let me angle you up a bit. Ah! Okay, I've got an Australian sunrise going on behind me. It's kind of pretty. I'll try to not maybe keep my face looking straight at you. Just consider me autistic or something. I probably am. ADHD and autistic, and I got it all going on. But probably feeling really human right now. Have gone a couple of nights without any sleep. It's part 2 of a video based on complete exhaustion, being the time of day when we're probably better off for making these videos if we're trying to be genuine, not have the ego, not having aspects of the brain kick in and get all self-conscious on a video feed. 3 nights without sleep. Yeah, it's good enough. I think they had an ad campaign in my country a few years ago that if you were driving a car without a lot of sleep, it's kind of the same as having drive a little bit. Now, probably not, but it is true. It slows reaction times. The mind has a harder time focusing or functioning. And just to lift one, I saw on TV last night. There was a show called Big Bang Theory. There's a character in it called Sheldon. He was trying to make a decision between choosing consoles, and he decided to toilet deprivation therapy. I don't know what it would be called, but he said that when you really need to run to a toilet, that state of urgency, possibly in the mind, forces possibly a more accurate decision to be made, or for you to just possibly follow your heart. I don't know. It was a throwaway line in a TV show. So I'm running with it. I haven't used a loo probably in about 12 hours. Yeah, just drank a ton of water. Good water. It's good. But I mean, I can see myself on the screen. I'm looking exhausted. Yeah, it's 3 days without sleep and working 10, 12-hour days, and just, and that's a physical job where I'm standing all day long. We don't get lunch breaks. We don't get 10-minute breaks. Now, yesterday I did. We'd finished our promotion at work, right? So the manager finally came back from holidays for the first day that the promotion wasn't running, and it was a quiet day. Yeah, so I just on principle, because I don't get paid for staying back for 3 hours of mopping floors and stuff, right? Even though I'm casual, I should. I'm having a battle with someone in human resources because they won't pay me, and they're the bully, right? Like in any business, right? Like, it's not just businesses, but bullies seek out positions of power, right? For whatever reason, they were probably bullied at school. They didn't like feeling helpless. They felt that the unhappiness in their life was because, that they perceive themselves as helpless or something. So they kind of try to flip it in life, and they seek out positions of power. And they're just trying to thumb people down and put other people through possibly the pains they've gone through. They probably just need a good counsellor, but hurting people is apparently just as good. So I'm having this ongoing battle just to receive my wages, and it's probably a bit of a tangent, but it's a large part of why I'm not sleeping, and why yesterday at work I just went, screw it. In all the years I've worked, I'm not usually one who pushes for lunch breaks or the 10-minute paid breaks. Yeah, that's never been me. Some organisations enforce them. If you're in a call centre, you've got hundreds of staff members on the floor. Everyone takes their breaks at very specific times. So I'm in a job where a staff member just turned to me and say, "Oh yeah, your lunch break started 10 minutes ago." Like, wonderful. Better run. I'll run and go get my lunch. So I'm tired, and they're probably the stresses. I've got my landlord booking to come see me on the weekend. This is a big one. Oh, I shouldn't say this. Anyone out there? Everyone's in the same cake. In the same spot. And that's my boss. My manager at work is probably really stressed because they're looking for a place to live. Same as the other workmates. And I've got friends. I would say mature stages in life. 60 odd years of age, have lived in one apartment for like nearly 20 years. Perfect tenant. And worked one job for more than 10 years. Perfect employee. and they're turning up at houses just like anyone else, and just willing to pay well above, like 50% more than what they've currently been paying, just to secure a bedsit or a one-bedroom apartment, or just anything. They're looking at two-bedroom places, and just they're asking their father to assist. Well, they're not asking, but the father's willing to throw in money each week, whatever it takes. And I've got these friends have been looking. Well, that's an example of one friend. I've got multiple friends, all in this camp. I give the example of this one in particular because you couldn't find a more perfect tenant. Like really anally retentive, perfectly clean, like just everything immaculate when you rock up at their house. It just, oh my lord, perfect tenant. And for, the better part of a year has been looking non-stop for a place to rent. And just, 50 other people applying every time they turn up. And they're seeing whole families turn up to like one-bedroom apartment type rentals. And for whatever reason, they're not getting it. And so I don't want to be back in the rental market. I really don't, for a lot of reasons. You could say I want to say like a life partner, but when you form a community, right? Like my significant other, the person that we've just deemed we're better if we try and live together, because the world is hard and we need to form communities. We're just safety in numbers, and you never want to be the squeaky wheel. They were on a Centrelink benefit, first time ever in their life. They were on a government benefit where it's like, oh look, 55 years of age, if you need to take a break, because between us, right? And this is the tangent, but this is where we're coming from, is that we've given months of our time for free, no wages in the last year, just seeking out jobs and just volunteering to get the hey, we're ready. Give us a trial if you like. And there's a lot of businesses out there which they'll offer the trial. They actually ask for it. That's a warning sign. And so between us, we've put months of time with no remuneration. But it's okay when you've got a little bit of a subsidy from the government, which might help you make your rent, and because of extreme pain and whatnot, this person has deemed they're only going to work so many hours each week, right? Because they're a cleaner. Now, they've been cleaning since 17 years of age, 55 years of age, basically been a cleaner. Not true. They did work as a kitchen hand, essentially, for more than 10 years for a small, fairly large place. They didn't pay any long service leave or anything. Just turned around and said, I'll consult with our accountant. Oh, no, our accountant reckons you're not eligible for long service leave. Well, actually, under government law, you are, but none of us are litigious. This is a large part of the purpose of this video. Right? Good videos on YouTube tell you at the start what you're going to cover and what you're going to talk about. But I know what I'm going to talk about. Here's a mystery for you. No one's going to watch me anyway, so just verbal diarrhea. Just drama. I've actually got my phone, my physical phone, not my recording phone, here. There's a chance that human resources might call me. I mean, I've sent so many emails. I've left so many messages on the answering machine. I've done everything I can to try to get them to call. So that's the excitement of this video, right? So you might actually get to hear me get to speak to a real bulldog, right? The person I was just describing did the other day. We got on the phone, and right from the opening sentence, it was just like, wow, that's how they speak with you. Yeah, it's human resources. We're all just children who need to be whipped into submission. And so you put your bullies in human resources to get everybody working the way they should be working. But I'm all over the place. No sleep. It's a large part of how hard it is to work when you're trying to learn a new job. Very, very tired. But let's go back just 2 points. So this lass has worked all of her life very hard. Deemed. And I was begging and pleading, saying, look, just don't push your body, right? You don't have to be just seeing yourself as a physical cleaner, right? Like, how about you work just a few days a week, right? We'll be able to make rent. We'll be able to eat food. I'll work a bit harder. It's all good, right? And we had that life balance going. Except her workplace needed more people, so they kept just asking her to work extra hours. She was putting in more time than like 40 type hour weeks, right? As the casual. But it was physically wiping her out, right? Absolutely. It always has. She just pays to go see physios. And when you're earning money, you can just pay to have people maintain your body, right? So that's what we're doing. And but don't be the squeaky wheel like I am with human resources, because they'll just push back and not pay you and punish you and not pay you, right? Like weeks. Like, no, we'll screw you over another week without pay. We'll play the international money market with your money. That's how the business is set up. I know this. In the interview, right, the one thing that stood out, you'll get paid weekly. This was the one thing they said is the benefit of working for us. We pay weekly because it's really important for you to have your money. It was the weirdest statement I've heard. I've been human resources for a few businesses. I've run a few businesses. I started my first business at 14, probably on about my third or fourth business at 16. That makes them sound unsuccessful, but no, for the age I was and for how much I moved around, they were good businesses. I would move on with my life. I didn't need to wash cars anymore when I was doing IT work. I was doing IT work at 16. I was an assistant manager. Because no one's going to look at a 16-year-old and go, you're the manager of a business. It was me and my housemate. It was our business. But I was assistant manager. It's all good. I've done a lot of these roles, and I would never pull these antics on anyone. Anyway, I've got good bullshit detector, if you will. I've worked in call centers a lot. You get very sensitive to tone of voice, and tone of voice is 70% of what we communicate when we're on a telephone. I'm doing a phone interview. And yeah, he's an ego bash. I've been at interviews where you've got 5 or 7 people, in the room, right? So a phone interview is pretty casual. I'm pretty relaxed, and I'm just sitting back, going, yeah, I mean, I'm going to get this job. It's a shit kicker role. It's not really my field of expertise, but that's been the last 5 years of my life. Is just doing the retail roles. I said I would never do commission-based sales, hardly normal, or security guard. I trained up, got a security license so I could kick homeless people out in the rain in winter, like with little kids out under their arms. Yeah, wow, you got 2 8-year-old kids, and I'm kicking you out after midnight. And basically, you're either going to lose your children for not being able to parent correctly if you've tried to seek them. I'm empathetically caring about these people, but it's my role, to say that I've probably jumped a few jobs trying to find something that is in alignment with my heart and the values I believe in. And that's probably a large part of why I haven't, got months of unpaid work, is that just when I work for a business, it's completely unethical and they try to bully me as tactics. It's like, man, over money, I'm not going to compromise my morals, ever. Like, that's just a thing, right? I can eat Weet-Bix, I can eat milk, Weet-Bix and milk. I can cut my food values down a little bit. Kind of all my teeth are a bit mucked up as a teenager, living on Australia. I left home really, really young, too young. Didn't look after myself. Probably didn't have enough vitamin C in my diet each week. And vitamin C is good for your gum structure and whatnot. And, that night I had a few armed robberies and hold-ups performed on me as a teenager in the various businesses I held, which involved a few hits to the face, hence the nice straight nose. And, yeah, great stuff like that. It's a life lived. Got to have a life lived. So I got the face of a life lived. But right now I got the face of a life that I'm just trying to live. I just want to get paid. This is the next part of my story, is that so the business pushed back in her workplace. It just no more shifts, right? Like she said, I can only work this many hours, and they went, no, we need you to work this many hours, right? And so she lost all government benefits. She lost any sense of, these are your normal work hours, and she just worked flawlessly, religiously, non-stop, every day. Just was the best worker and is the best worker there. If you've been cleaning for decades, you get pretty good at it. And great work ethic. Never misses a shift, never turns up late, that sort of thing. And but because being the squeaky wheel at work, trying to sort of improve the systems or just make sure that everything's right, and just new middle management have come in and just done everything. Got rid of all the staff that had a backbone and gave feedback, because it's easy just to get imports, people who are very timid, right? If you get them, you can just get them to do anything. You can treat them really bad. You can make them work the extra times, and they won't declare it on their timesheet. You can. This is business, right? This is business all over the world, and is the general thread of my videos is like anti-present systems. Okay, and it's not that I want them to end. We just need to change course a little bit, because everyone's going to become really unsatisfied when all their electrical goods are designed to have to be replaced within 12 months. And all this hard-earned work that we do, and for no real remuneration. Because in the past, you could buy an electrical good and it was worth something, and you could use it for years, and then you could hand it to your kids, and you felt proud for earning that money, and look what you got to show for it. Now you don't get any of that. Now you've got devices that are useless and worthless and replaceable and don't last and need to be upgraded. This is the world. So consumers have no level of satisfaction at all, in any of the things that we approach or do, and everything's designed to be a time waste, and therefore, money goes up. All of these digital media systems are designed to waste our time in the hope that when we're engaging with them, we might accidentally spend money. In case in point, I just wanted to calculate my wages to declare, because I too was on a Centrelink benefit or a government benefit to survive and pay my rent at a minimal level. I got $300 a week to assist me. And I had to declare all my income from this job up front. I'm trying to find a calculator, and all my modern Android phones, right, all of them, I've got a few in drawers and stuff, and iPads, and all these devices, none of them had a calculator on them. None, right? Remember when computers first came to the market, the one function they could do was math, right? Calculators? Yeah, right? So all the 70s and 80s, the reasons why businesses had computers on site was for math functions, right? So the calculator function in a computer is quite important, but the companies have figured this out. So they've removed the calculator from our electronic devices, knowing that we might have to go via a store to get one. And we might then buy a calculator, and then a little bit of that coin might go to the platform holders, right? So the platform holders no longer let you have the most basic functions that our devices have. And this isn't the point of this video, but it's about consumer lack of satisfaction at every level. Everything's designed to steal our time, everything's designed to steal our money, and the worker bees just have to work harder. And there's only so much blood you can get from a stone, and eventually society is going to turn around and say, well, this isn't working, right? And sadly, the resources on the planet just can't keep churning out at this rate for the select few, right? There's only the cream of the crop, right? There's only money. There's some rocks that just somehow have more blood in them, right? And so eventually they become the target. But eventually, right, we're going to run out. And there's the Indian prophecy there. You can't eat money, right? Like eventually we're going to find out that we're just too greedy, and we're just taking too much, and we're not giving anything back. I find fair remuneration for hours worked, that's being given something back, right? That's why most people work, right? The old saying, do we live to work? No, we work to live, right? The idea is that we work those hours so that we can get some money, so that I can feed my kid, and I can pay my rent, I can do the basics in life. So I'm stressed. I got my landlord, he's going to come visit me. I haven't been able to pay my rent, right? Get a couple of weeks of wage that's due me, I can't get it. Right, and because I've locked horns with the person in human resources, right, not the person to lock horns with, just making sure I haven't missed a phone call. No, 6 o'clock in the morning, but human resources 3 hours ahead of me. So it's 9 o'clock over there. They're only in 3 days a week, right? Yeah, you can say it's a small business. No, we've got 22 stores across the country. They just don't want human resources to operate. They're probably just cost cutting and saving money. And human resources have pulled every antic under the sun, just hanging up on me midway through phone call. Oh, sorry, phone ran out of battery. They don't call me back. I've left messages. They don't contact me back. I've sent emails. I've sent multiple emails. They magically just miss the important bits of data that I write in the emails. That is actually what is needing to get us over the line. And whilst constantly saying, oh, this seems to be very difficult for you. It's like, no, my physical ID. I already emailed you, right? Like, I'll send you another email and just let you know, did you find, like, it is there. I have given you permission to use the workplace super, right? And this is it. They're asking me, and I looked up what it is they're asking me to do, and they're basically, I've never ever, right, I've been working since young in my life, I've never ever once had a business demand of me this particular form. They're saying, oh yeah, provide your super fund, your ID, and get a release form from them. And there's something else, and it's like, I looked it up, and it's basically just to make sure that the super fund you're using is compliant with Australian law. And it's like, oh, you can pay into it anyway. You've got a certain amount of time to figure it out. And there's a web page you can go and look it up and see if it's compliant and whatever. But all this stuff arguably could be done down the track, right? As a new employee who's been working there for coming into the 3rd week as of after today, you could say the end of the 2nd week today. It's only 2 weeks. I've worked for tons of businesses. I never expect to get paid in the first 2 weeks, but the one good thing about working for this really hard to work for employer who put me, the junior staff, on to run through the last couple of days of a promotion. We had customers going halfway up the stairs out of the shop, and the negative Google reviews to follow, right? Because people wanted to save, right, a few dollars, and so instead of coming in at a time that suited them, right, instead of looking after themselves and being reasonable, they decided that they would waste an inordinate amount of time to try and squeeze in, and not the promotion ran for an entire month, right? On the last 2 days, where of course we're flat out busy, and so technically our clock out time 6 o'clock, right? I think we left at 8:30 one night. The next night it was 10 o'clock, but that's because I took an hour to chill out after 6 because I'd worked an 8-hour day and hadn't had a lunch break and hadn't had a 10-minute break. And I'd lost the attitude because I'd seen the workplace delete from the hour before all the little 15-minute and 30-minute increments where we'd stay back. And we have to stay back because we don't shut the doors to the public until 6. We don't start counting the tills till after that. And there's cleaning to be done. We've got to mop and got to do things, right? Now, I'm a casual. Everyone else there is permanent. As a casual, I'm entitled, and certainly in 15-minute blocks, if I stay back more than 15 minutes, it probably should be acknowledged. But no, they came in and they cleaned up my timesheet and they trimmed off a couple of hours of work that I was definitely owed. And they deducted the lunch breaks I hadn't taken. So this week, I thought I'll do things a bit differently, but, end of a promotion period, didn't have that option. So day 2 was staying back a couple of hours unpaid after work, fully well knowing it'd be unpaid. I took the attitude of, I'll just chill out for an hour before I commit to the mopping and the heavy work. But the managers come back from holidays. Yeah, no, not a thank you, not an acknowledgement, not one positive word. Not one positive word for any actions given. Nah, it's a little bit disheartening. Negative speak, actually, of my workmate. It's possibly OCD that absolutely does a perfect job for the workplace. And just, when managers, people who seek out power and they're not happy within themselves and they're threatened by everyone else being potentially good, they never want to speak positively. There's only so much positivity in the world, and if they share someone else, that they're at risk of not getting any back. I don't know what the theory is in their head, but some people just are never happy, and if they can't be happy, if they can't be happy with your performance, it can be a bit disappointing. So I have a theory. This is something I figured out a long time ago with regards to bosses. I said I'll work for any boss who can whistle or sing or be happy, because if they can be happy, they might actually be capable of being happy with your performance. If you're working for someone who can never be happy, chances of them acknowledging you or seeing the good that you do and being able to share that positive light with you, it probably won't happen. But we don't go to work for positive statements. I'd like to think that we should be healthy, intact people, right? If you want to be a good employee, right, you leave your shit at the door, right? You turn up, you're a healthy person, right? And that doesn't just mean physically, that also means mentally. Of course, we don't have that option in the world. Nobody's getting enough sleep, right? Nobody's in their best mind state anymore. So, as I say, this is a video in a series of videos that's talking about how the current systems just are not working. We do need to change. I do have a solution. At times when I've technically been unemployed, I've actually gone out of my way to make videos and try to raise awareness or whatever. I'm not entertaining enough, right? I haven't got a face. I've got a face for radio, not TV. I haven't had much success. I've written off to a lot of politicians and stuff, but this is a bit of a different tangent. This wasn't the point of my video today. I just wanted to be busting to use a loo. I was just hoping I could just jump this stuff out. I had actually thought I could ring human resources and have other people hear the bulldog that I'm chatting with, and absolutely a bulldog. You can look at the picture of them. No facial symmetry, like absolutely. Oh yeah, I pretend to be nice, right? And that's the real killer. As I get these emails, and yeah, I mean, you can see that the person who's writing it is trying to belittle you, right? Trying to thumb you down. And it does. The words, the language is, whilst none of the words individually are insulting, when you put them together in the sentences that they're in, and sentence 1 and the first sentence of the last sentence are particularly insulting. The body of text in between just being, yeah, this is what I'm going to do to you to make you jump through more fiery hoops, right? You can't argue any of this. But the opening statement making you hate every word that's going to come after it, and the final statement making it so that you hate having what you've just read and probably having an adrenal response to it of like either fear or terror or, oh my God, that's just more work than it needs to be, means that you basically hang up on an email or a put of correspondence. And you just go, look, I don't even want to engage with that. And this person's obviously made a living or is doing their role very well by doing that, right? It's the same as most businesses, right? If you can engage with us, you can complain and you can claim on your warranty or whatever. So if we make it really uncomfortable for you to engage with us, I lost 150 hours trying to contact Sony cameras over a camera they did a recall on and then lost and basically wouldn't acknowledge me. And whilst we have all these ports of call in my country, Australia, or the oceanic region, it was the same front of house staff
Right? This is just an example of what every other consumer on the world is currently going through, because all businesses are just drawing a line in the sand going, we don't want to deal with you. And with regards to Sony, with regards to this camera, all their official front of houses, which was Facebook, which was digitally via a range of methods, but they were all being handled by the same people. And I could tell that. And they knew they'd made bad plays, and they just kept blocking me from being able to talk to the company. I just kept saying, well, keep going, guys, because I'm going to chat with you. And I was looking up documents from years before and looking at their internal mission statements, if you will, and their beliefs and their structures and aspects of the business that they're determined to change. And I was even quoting them, like, oh, but wouldn't such and such, you implemented this, and this is your current thing, and this is all under that. Shouldn't we be trying to do this as a solution? Every level of diplomacy I couldn't get to, because I couldn't get past these same people who were just guarding the front of house. I couldn't get past it, right? And I could ring up Sony anywhere else in the globe. I could speak with Ireland, I could speak with New Zealand, I could speak with all these other great places. Everyone's like, man, that's completely unacceptable. I was even getting people saying, oh, just lawyer up, man. Like, this is just nuts. You shouldn't have to do that. And at the end of 150 odd hours of people never getting back to me and all that sort of stuff, I finally got offered, because they realised they'd really stuffed up. They said, oh, we'll give you 25% off a future Sony product. To which I said, look, I get better than that, just from a person in a shop selling Sony products who doesn't even know me as a new customer walking in, right? Like, why would this, and you losing my child's camera, that it was less than a year old in perfect condition, some laminate was peeling, and you said, oh yeah, we're doing a recall on it, and just for the nature of it might be better in resale value. I thought, okay, I'll get it serviced because it's been recalled, it's lost. And then and then ultimately they said, oh, we don't have a camera like that anymore, so we're not going to replace it. And then years down the track, I was in a job which we retailed Sony, and when the rep came past, I said, man, look, just to be honest, we sell about 5 different products here. Why would I talk up your product based on my personal experience? Now, I didn't do that on the clock with that job. I actually followed the rep out to the car park, took a break, followed the rep out to the car park and said, look, man, we've got a real issue. I don't want to bring it into this workplace. I don't want to draw it out. I dig you. You're great customer service, but I've personally had this experience, and I like to encourage my customers to make consumer ethical decisions, and products are going to look after them. And based on my experiences, why would I recommend you or your company? And so he went out of his way, and internally he went through the same thing, and they basically just went, oh, look, just shut him up. And they offered me the cheapest camera in their lineup. Cheapest, like there was no camera worse than it. And I said, man, this is completely a different type of camera. The camera I had was waterproof, drop-proof, freeze-proof, all this sort of stuff. It was perfect for my child. It was super lightweight, it could fit in a pocket. You just started it by pulling the screen down. It was tough. There was no moving parts externally. It was everything we wanted. And you're offering me a super zoom camera with like some ridiculous amount of zoom or whatever, and it's just this lens that just folds out. It takes a while to periscope out. And I said, mate, I don't need it. Like, we've got, and by the way, I've already replaced that camera. My daughter's already moved on to APS-C and interchangeable lenses, and I've got multiple cameras, and we've got better pocket cameras than this. Like, we're never going to use this. And he's like, well, we haven't got an equivalent replacement. They did, but it was worth a little bit more money, and it was worth more or less probably 10-20% more than the camera that they'd lost, right? And they're just like, no, we're not actually going to honour any of your time, any of anything, right? Because you do not have power, right? Now, I just said that to you. You do not have power. No, well, you heard me say you don't have power. That was them saying it to me. But it's a thing. You don't have power. I don't have power. Individually, we don't have power. We can't group up, right? The powers that be, right? They're deeming that through all the methods that might lead us to ever unifying, right? They're all regulated now. They're all monitored, and they're all blockable across a range of things. We can't even discuss certain topics. Yeah. I'm looking at this. I look really stoned. Okay, I want to let you know I haven't smoked for quite a long time. Not a smoker. Selling in a shop dealing with smokers. You get all the meth heads and all the lovely people coming in. So literally, it would be the worst retail job in the capital city I work in. And if I do retail jobs, I didn't want to work in the city because I don't want to share trains. And sadly, everyone's phones are on 5G. And as soon as a train gets up to about 80 kilometres an hour, and it's a metal carriage, and everybody's reception gets poor, and everyone's on Netflix, and during peak hour, which is the times you have to travel to and from work, I get physically nauseous, right? Because we're basically in a microwave oven, right? Everyone's got these cell phones putting out these cell signals at really high power. And you know, all the studies that were done in the early 80s on mobile phones, right? That mobile phones back then were possibly it was technically an analog network, arguably, but the way we communicated data, the amount of frequency and power that we were pushing was well, different. Arguably, it was higher in some regards, but different, right? Because now when we're pushing 4K videos to our phones, and okay, when the reception gets bad, it's not 4K because it's just putting out the phone's ramping up to full power. A train, high speed, moving metal carriage, it's ramping up to full power, right? And there's 100 people in the carriage, and everyone's on their phones. Most people, because of how cheap it is to stream TV networks, most people are streaming TV networks, watching YouTube, etc. A few people are just checking emails, right? So those people are great. They're only moving a couple of hundred megadata. Yeah, a couple hundred meg. Everything's inefficient. Everything's designed to rip us off and hurt us. And we need to unify. We do. Okay, I have just tangented a little bit. I get caught out. I get really frustrated, right? Because data is no longer data. In my days, I understood what a kilobyte of data was. It was 1,000 bytes of data. A byte of data, it could be a character on the screen. If you saved a text document, right, you could type 100 characters of text and save a text document. There'd be a little bit of, there'd be some encoding space there. There'd be some containment data that might be needed, but basically if you typed 100 characters of text, you were basically looking at a 100 byte text file. Text, TXT would be the saving extension. And then you could add rich text formats, which was my default choice because Microsoft kept pushing document formats that they'd change every couple of years so they could sell you a new Office suite, right? And so I just the other day I was looking up the docx format. There's a few proprietary formats being used by human resources and myself, and they required signatures in some fields and types in other fields, and across multiple devices I had to, it's having a bit of a nightmare filling out these forms, and even just getting witnesses. You know, I'd been told my first shift would be next week sometime, and you know, I had a couple of days to fill out these forms, and I sat down, and it just turned out it was the housemate's birthday that weekend, and we had cleaning for house inspection to do. We had a few things to do. And so on Monday morning, it was in my time frame to get back to human resource, and I sat down first thing in the morning after having my coffee to start doing this paperwork, which was when I discovered that we had a login system where I could find out my shifts. I had a shift starting in less than an hour in the city nearby, for which I was only going to catch public transport to get to because parking's just ridiculous. So I made that shift on time, miraculously. Bloody brilliant. But it meant that on the train on the way in, I'm trying to sign Google Docs and stuff and get all this stuff done. And sadly, it was saving in the cloud, and I'm on a train, and it's just like, the data. I just want to do things locally. It's like I haven't got the Office suites installed to do that, and everything wants me to install this and do that. And I didn't really have the option. I only had a finite amount of time, and then I needed witnesses for all my signatures. And I was like, this is just such a nightmare. I'm just going to turn up to my shift and get this done, and possibly print up stuff out at work and get it done. Manager's gone, no, look, you've got 2 weeks to get the stuff done. Don't worry about it, and whatever. And yeah, we'll assist you through it. And we'll train you up and stuff. No. On that first day, I was given a wad of paper, and I don't know how many hundreds of pages they're expecting me to read in my own private time. But look, I'm tangential. I've got all this stuff. It's just ridiculous. So I guess I'm sitting here believing I probably don't have a job today. I effectively start in a couple of hours. I've got the long shift. I'm working till late tonight. It's a late night trade. But, 3 or 4 days without sleep, and still without pay, and can't pay my rent, kind of stressed. Can't pay a lot of things. Had everything falling through. So I say this, everyone's just disconnecting, because everyone else feels the same. I know that. I'm not saying this stuff to say I'm suffering more than you or anything. This is just generic stuff. I get it. That's what the purpose of this video is. We're all at this point right now. But I was just talking about data a moment ago, and the docx format, right? So I was looking it up, and they're going, it's better because it's more integrous, right? If you have a critical data issue and you need to do a drive recovery, this is it's more file size efficient. And I saved the text file I was looking at, the docx file I was looking at, as a TXT, so I could actually inspect what was in it, and you could just see how much BS was attached, right? There's no efficiency in the data we share or send. And I could see a computer dated 10 years earlier that must have been used to create aspects of the document. There was all sorts of little bits of information in there that just didn't need It doesn't need to be sent over the airwaves non-stop. Everything in the world, because the European Union pushing back and going, oh, you're not allowed to send personal data, and then the companies just go, okay, the line's here, we can do this. This isn't illegal yet, right? And so nowadays, the best thing to do is just waste consumers' data, because by having redundancy and having everything sent multiple places at multiple times, and just you can get all the same information, right? But anyway, everything's anti-consumer, so yeah, we're all just suffering, and the planet suffers the most. But anyway, I get back to this docx format. The statement is technically true that it might be more recoverable, right, on the basis that the file size is a bit smaller than the previous docx format, or whatever document format Microsoft was using, and then its advertising speak to force everyone to the new format was the data integrity. How much more secure, how much better is the situation you would be in if you needed to do a data recovery. So right, so I'm looking at this text file that could have been 20 kilobytes or less, easy, but it was hundreds of kilobytes, and that means it takes more bytes on your drive to be stored across, meaning it actually was less integrous, in that you'd arguably have to recover more space. Now, the crazy thing is that as drives got bigger, the minimum file size on a drive, the space that is taken up on the drive when you save a file, there's a minimum allocation space. And it used to be about 4 kilobytes, but we moved to 64 kilobytes quite a long time ago. And text documents technically should easily be well under that. But, you know, it's the Microsoft operating system using these 64 kilobyte blocks, and the Microsoft operating system using these stupidly large document files, that the two going together, yeah, they probably do need 64 kilobyte blocks for a small text document. 64,000 bytes of data, right? That'd be a book. Atari 2600 cartridge, those games, they were 4 kilobyte games. That was 4,000 bytes of data. That code would be, that was Pac-Man, that was Space Invaders. But you think of the later generation stuff, which was your River Raids and your Skate or Dies and your Double Dragons. Those cartridges might have been pushing 8 kilobytes. Now, I say that not knowing any research on it. I know that the cartridge format was 4 kilobytes. I own a lot of 2600 cartridges. But looking at later platforms, and certainly I was into the role-playing games, and so in the 8-bit generation you get batteries in those cartridges for your save files, and so they were a little bit heavier. But by the time we got to the 16-bit generation, and there's a little bit of technical talk, I like to mix my videos up with a bit of everything, a bit of education. The 16-bit games, which is your Super Nintendos and the Genesis or the Sega Mega Drive, depending which country you're in, they had a 2 megabyte limit, which is 16 megabit, 8 bits to a byte, so 16 megabit were the cartridge sizes at max. But again, later generation games, and Street Fighter 2 was an example, that'd be a 24 megabit cartridge or a 3 megabyte cartridge. Right? That's pretty huge. But just going back to the 2600, like 4 kilobytes, right? That's a lot of space, 4,000 bytes of data, right? You can write whole software in that. Nowadays, a text file is bigger than operating systems used to be. Anyway. This is just a person. I watch my router turn on in the wee hours of the morning when it shouldn't. You know, I watch all sorts of stuff going on. We don't. There's no security. There's no. Everything's different to how it was just a small amount of time ago. And a couple of years from now, everything will have to be totally different again. Otherwise, we will have had civil war, right? We just don't have a choice on that, right? The businesses will have kept reformatting and changing and making us believe that we're getting something for our money and that everything's good and peachy, and they'll just hide over the fact that some people are unhappy. And as long as all the consumer news is crunchy and happy and everyone feels good, we'll just keep ignoring it, and we'll just keep driving off a cliff, as the whole human race is currently doing. Don't have to. Anyway, I sent an email at 10 o'clock last night on top of multiple points of contact to Human Resources, desperately saying I need to get in contact. I'd just like to think that they should be calling me right now. I'm almost tempted to call them, right? Out of, was it for quality and coaching purposes, this call is being recorded? Yeah. I'm not going to do that. But I suppose Human Resources have been open up for long enough now that I could probably check my bank, probably check if there's any method for me to, whether I've been paid. Would that make me happier? I don't know. Maybe using a loo would make me happier. To be honest, having someone watch one of my videos would probably make me happier, but then maybe not. Because deep down, some part of me would die inside, going, wow, people are people are sad and they're bored enough to watch one of my videos, can't afford their TV subscription for the month or whatever. I don't know. If a consumer conscious person was watching my video feeds, I mean, at best this video will be found in retrospect. I'll finally put out a video that's good down the track, and people will be like, what are some other videos I've done? And they'll come back and they'll find this one and be like, look, this hair with the backlit sunlight looks all right. It's like, not really. I didn't brush. I didn't look in a mirror before I went out today. And yeah, my hair should be tied back for workplace and stuff. And it's Movember here in Australia where we all grow mows, so I trimmed off the beard. I missed out on having a Mobius? Mobius, the Million Ways to Die in the West. That's a pretty serious mustache, man. I could have gone the whole right on up, you know. But I'd started shaving on the side, and I was, I could have done a Mobius. That would have been great. I'm in a funky shop. It's accepted. The uniforms are pretty cash. It's actually a good thing. Yeah. We get a lot of angry customers though, and angry upper management, and angry management. I enjoy my pee on equals, my workmates, the workmates I'm on an actual team with as equals, peers, if you will. I enjoy a lion's share of my customer base, but not that much. I mean, sadly, I'm a male, and toxic. I can't say toxic masculinity, toxic femininity. Gee, I've never heard that coined. Really haven't. I grew up under a single mum. I'm all for equal rights for women and equal power for women. And actually, I kind of think women are the superior species in every regard. Much, much smarter than males, and that's physiologically, that's biologically speaking. Just the corpus callosum is just a lot wider. It's like the bus connecting the two hemispheres of the brain. And with computers, when you widen the bus, the output power or capability of the computation at any moment of computation is just improved. And so in women, the much wider corpus callosum, that's why they can probably hold multiple conversations at the same time. Or what we consider multitasking, and for men is kind of like just switching between two tasks really inefficiently. And you do two tasks badly on one task well. Don't multitask. We can't, right? But women are veritable supercomputers by comparison to the male physiognomy. I'm saying that, it sounds sexist, doesn't it? But in the workplace I'm in, I've never really had this, but I'm in a workplace where there's piercing involved. And a lot of people come in to get pierced, and a lot of people come in to get smoking equipment for substances. And technically, we sell water pipes for smoking tobacco. Once upon a time, I would have loved having staff discount in a place like this. I haven't got any piercings. No one's had any ring pierced. I haven't bought any smoking stuff from there. It's a shame, you know. I know people who do smoke. I haven't had a chance of telling them I've got a job there because I'm working non-stop, generally 10-hour days, every day. So yeah, I'm tired. I'm not being able to spend my money. Oh, sorry. The purpose. I was just saying. All these women come down, and don't get me wrong. I won't look at a girl below the shoulders, right? That's just a thing. And I say a woman. I won't look at. I understand there's so many creeps out there. I understand that it might not be me, but somebody else has probably made them really not like men, you know. And it's not everyone. It's definitely my mum. She's a very dangerous personality. I haven't had any connection or communication with her in a long time. That should be a warning sign for anyone watching my videos that I'm not an intact, healthy human being. Okay, well, not quite true. My grandma was my mum. My best friend's mum. I called her mum, basically. She gave me a key to her house when I turned 21. Like, she was my mother figure. You know, I've got great relations with women, I'd like to believe. But, a lot of the people that come in are very deeply hurt. And the looks I get from certain people, it is soul crushing. I was in bed before. This is why I'm doing this video now. There's another night of no sleep, and I'm sitting there going, man, I tell you, today, because I'm at my threshold, someone's going to give me one of those looks, and I'm going to turn to my manager. I'm going to say I quit, and or something along those lines, and I was thinking, it's just a little drama in my head. I'd like to consider myself a writer. Ultimately, that's what I'd like to do. But I'm not going to write a book or anything until I'm in a healthy, safe place. Otherwise, I'm just going to encode all my bullshit and all my fears into the, you know, subconsciously into the works. And other people reading works, they're not going to get prose or poetry that's going to make them feel uplifted and great. Just like this video, you're going to get stuff that's going to make you go, I've got to pay my rent and my bills and all the stuff this guy's going through. Yeah, I've gone through that, and we all feel kind of sad, right? So you tell a happy story, everyone feels happy. You know, you tell this story, people just skip on. So that's why none of my videos are watched. I get it. Oh dear, I can't actually talk about the reality we live in, otherwise I've got no viewers. So yeah, I was just daydreaming, as a writer does, about a good little script or dialogue, and I'm very emphatic. I really, really care about people, and I mean, I would never put someone through that. If someone's that broken that they have to tell everybody that even so much as looks at them in a customer service role when they have to, and gives you that look of like, just drop dead and die, I hate you, right? I get that look several times a day, just from random strangers. Love it. And not the junkies, not the truly sick people who've just gone past the point of being able to maintain themselves and probably can't heal, but the people who probably should be tending to themselves and healing. Just like, oh, it's everyone else's problem. It's like, oh, okay, cool. And please, I'm not minimising. I mean, that statement sounds like I'm minimising the pain that some women have gone through, and I understand the statistics. I understand that on the whole, it's about 25% more sexual abuse performed on women, on children, I should say, children. The boys, I think it was 6 out of 10 molested. The women, it's about 8 out of 10. The girls, it's about 8 out of 10. And I'm all for childhood innocence and protecting it. That's the most important thing. But I consider most young adults, up to 28, I consider them children. I'm all about protecting and sheltering our youth and just doing whatever we can to get them feeling healthy. But I'm seeing people in their 30s and more, come in that are just practiced at hating people. And there's probably, again, legitimate reason. I don't want to minimise that. In my head, I'm having this little dialogue. I would never put it into text. I'll put it here out there for you, so people can, in the comments, abuse me for saying, "Oh, you entitled prick, you don't know what it is like to." Okay, I got a teenage daughter who's just a young adult, technically an adult in the eyes of the world, but yeah, whatever. I wouldn't put this out, right? It's just as I say, the musings of somebody in the wee hours of the morning that scared me enough to get me out of bed. Okay, there we go. There's some context, right? That's why I've started doing this video. So, look, I'm clearly not going to be able to sleep. Thoughts like this are going through my head, and yeah, and I realised that I'm like, I just, one of these looks is probably all it would take right now for me to go, look, this is not the right job for me. There's no point in me training up learning this role, because in the long run, I'm not the piercer. I don't know the jewellery section. I'm not the best worker there. So there's 100 people out there that probably would want the job better than I am. Yeah, than I could perform it. So, just right vocation. It's a Buddhist thing. I probably shouldn't be there. But yeah, in my head, the drama was, I think I was like, that if I'd said that to my manager right in front of them, they'd be like, I'm sorry. And I'd be like, I would want to be able to say to them, oh yeah, it's because of you. And then I'd say, oh yeah, no, the reason I'm quitting is, and then point behind them, there's a mirror behind them, so that when they turn around, they can see themselves and me. They may be able to see their own face while they make the expression. Maybe there might be a moment of reflection then. A few years ago, actually, I've given feedback to people to say, look, I can't handle being looked at like that anymore, right? I've had a really bad week. I'm coming home from a 12-hour day at work the other day, and a random drunk homeless person on the bus, after the train on a bus, started insulting me. Absolutely chockers bus. He's talking about my rolled-in shoulders, right? My rolled-in shoulders, right? From an abusive mum, right, when I was a child, who would rip open my door. I'd be in high school, and my mum would get drunk and have a Valium and smoke a spliff and do whatever, right? Absolute fucking whack job. Sorry to swear on YouTube. This video's not for kids. Yeah, and she'd rip open my door for no reason, just start yelling abuse at me and call me all sorts of horrible things, and then slam the door shut again. And about 30, 40 minutes later, she would sort of a whole bunch more abuse and would do it again, right? She'd beat me to within an inch of my life, tons of times. I'd have teeth marks and dentured into my arms for months, and bruising that would never ever go down, ever. And yeah, right. So my shoulders are rolled in to protect myself. Right? I was studying natural medicine at a university, in Southern Cross University. There's only 3 unis in the world that do it. Brilliant thing though, because you get all these. It's a university, so it's hard to get into the course. You get all these fairly intelligent people who've all done alternative medicine studies all their life, all turning up, and then it's just a hot pot of everybody sharing their ideas and the things they've learned, right? And they're all healers because they're doing essentially a medical degree. But they're not in it for the money. If you're in it for the money, you go and do doctor's medicine, So the girls in the course just made comment like, oh yeah, you're protecting your heart, like yeah, and it's like, oh, the epiphany, right? That's why, But my uncle in my life is telling me off, fucking fix your shoulders up. It's like, like stand like a man. And it's like, man, for me, I don't even want to be identified as a man. We're the fucking problem half the time, aren't we? half the time. Something telling in that. The problem is, boys, men, we have 1,500 less emotional words in our dialogue in the middle teenage years, right? So the suicide rate for blokes or boys, much higher than the suicide rate of girls, right? And girls, oh man, like yeah, they might not physically punch you, no, they just separate all your friends. They sociopathically, isolate you by saying all the wrong stuff to all your friends. It didn't happen to me. Oh, actually, no, I did. I had a girlfriend pull that on me. I broke up with her for legit reasons. I said, oh, look, man, if you're going to enforce me to go out with you tonight, like on a date, it's the first time my mum's asked me to come to her house to run fireworks night for my younger sister. The whole reason I'd moved to Canberra and followed my mum. I'd moved 1,000 kilometres away. I'd gone to Canberra to be in my sister's life. It was only 5, I think, when I went there. A few years later, I think she was in Scouts or Guides or something. They just needed someone to operate. My mum had invited me around to light the fireworks for an event they were running. I really wanted to do it. I said, yeah, sure. It was the first time I was going to see my sister in Yonks. That's the whole reason I'd moved to Canberra, arguably. I think they taught psychology in the schools there in high school. I was like, oh, brilliant. I'm going to jump on that when I went to university and started learning psych. It's all the same stuff I learnt in high school, basically. Maybe it's slightly faster pace of learning. Maybe. Slightly faster. Purpose of my talk, yeah, I had a girlfriend that was like, oh yeah, no, you've hung out with me every single day, and I yet again demand that you hang out with me yet again, our family going out to go and see a play, and you've got to come along. And I've just said, look, we've just been down the coast, you dragged me down to the family's house for the weekend or the week or whatever, and it's like, yeah, that's really great, and I really appreciate our time together, I love you, my girlfriend, but this is my night to be with my family, I really would like to go and do that. And she pulled on the waterworks and just went, no, you got to do it. And I said, okay, fine, I will do it, but just know that if I go out tonight with you, that tomorrow morning I will be breaking up with you. Point blank said it, right? This is if this is our form of communication, right? I will respond to the emotional needs that you're putting on, but just know that this is what you're buying into, right? And so the next day she made out like it was a complete surprise, and I didn't, in the middle of an emotional tantrum, just sneak this in under my breath, right? Like I made it really clear that dragging me out tonight is akin to breaking up, right? We are absolutely breaking up. And then she had all of her friends like, oh, you're an arsehole, you're an arsehole, you're an arsehole. Oh, I didn't go in and explain myself. You don't even get that opportunity usually, because the person who talks the most usually wins the war. But I mean, that was me at 16. I'd learnt that, just because you're right doesn't mean you're not going to be treated like an arsehole by everyone. I've never... Being right isn't my thing, okay? Don't get me wrong, I'd never ever want to say a lie or a mistruth, right? Because I think the world is hard enough already, right? So all we need, if the world is one big science experiment, all we need is accurate data to make predictions from, right? So I just like giving honesty. I'm one of these people at work that's accountable. I don't try to sweep my messes under the rug so people don't discover it. I'm like, hey, I just made a mess. How can I do this better next time? I think that makes me a better employee. But yeah, I doubt I'm an employee right now. I technically have a shift in a couple of hours. It's starting to get to be 7 o'clock. That means I've been doing this video for nearly an hour. It has no purpose. I guess these are just my therapies. There you go. We need to tend to ourselves. If you've listened and watched one of my videos, right, in my eyes, that makes you a legend. Right there, I've just declared you my counsellor, essentially. Leave a comment so I can thank you. Leave a comment so I can do a video on a topic you might want me to do on. There's a lot of stuff I'd like to cover. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be spoken about, and I feel like I do the doom and gloom videos now where I talk about the stuff that isn't working, because I've pitched to politicians, I've pitched to everyone what could work or should work, but I don't have a platform, I don't have any subscribers, I don't have any voice. I don't know how I can get my message out there. I know it works, it's a model that will save humanity. I've seen it in a vision. I think I'm a prophet. I don't know, it's a vision that was given to me. I don't really want it. I don't like public speaking. If you'd had as much abuse in life as I have had, you never want to be standing up in front of a class. You don't ever want to be the voice that's speaking. But because at 16 years of age, I was going to commit suicide. And I just realised, man, I was at that threshold on many occasions. The sad thing was I knew that my life was over. I never expected to live past 16. I'd been deeply unhappy all my life up to that point. Well, for most of my childhood up to that point. And so knowing I had a younger sister, I just deemed, look, if I don't hurt myself right now, I might just be useful for her at some point in her life. And that was a reason for me to just justify, okay, I'll go on living. I will be better. I'll do something. I know I should be doing something for the human race. I absolutely know it. But I don't know how to be employed in that role and doing that. Sadly, because I'm on government benefits, well, not really. I didn't get any the last fortnight. Haven't been able to pay my rent at all. And the missus didn't get any work shifts in the last fortnight. We got no money. Ah. To afterpay a gift voucher for a supermarket so we could eat. Anyway, what was I saying? I don't know. Some shit about being 16 and just deeming there that the whole purpose of my life. That was when I realised I wanted to be an author. And I've all my life refined to be an author and just pushed myself out of my shell by 18. Just realised everyone's deeply unhappy. I might as well at least learn how to engage with people. So I always wanted to be that counsellor. Always tried to be compassionate, just put myself aside and 100% listen for other people. I guess the problem is over many, many years it all kind of compounds and compacts and now I, for whatever reason, maybe to protect myself, I generally don't want to hang out or know anybody. You should say it's the other way around, but I feel it's the shamanistic thing, right? You've got to go and you've got to isolate yourself from society so that you can kind of point your finger at it or see it side on and see the madness for what's actually happening. Because when you're in it, you're too close to it, right? And I'll give you the example. When you're in primary school or high school, you know how the couples are always having trouble, but it's always the third-party arbitrator that can come in and...
You love them, they love you, right? When you're saying this, you're actually communicating that you're a little bit hurt with them, but you're hurt with them because you really want the relationship to work, right? Anyway, what I'm trying to say is that the people in the situation are generally too close to it, and quite often that's why it's not working. And it's the same with society, right? If we're in it,
we're too close to what's going wrong, that we're not actually able to see the little fish tank that we've actually been put in and how things need to be changed as a whole system. So I guess the shaman traditionally was the medicine man or the person that lived on the edge of the tribe and didn't conform to the ways of everybody else and therefore was useful as somebody that could point out the differences, right? So I don't need to use drugs, man. Lack of sleep. Just as good. Oh my Lord. I promise you, these eyes are just 3 days of no sleep. I've probably had about 6 hours. None of it particularly deep, but that's not quite true because the longer you go without deep sleep, you actually get back into deep sleep quicker. Your stages to get to REM sleep is, it doesn't take the same hour and a half to 2 hours to hit that 4-hour block and right in the middle. You can actually get there in 6 minutes. If you're absolutely not getting it, your brain just jumps straight to it. As I was about 18 years of age, I learnt to conscientiously meditate. So generally try to process a lot of the imagery and the shenanigans of your life as you're going through them, so that ideally when you're sleeping, you don't have to work through all of that. Because that's what our sleep is. They say that a couple of the dreams are precognitive, so that the stresses of life that's coming up, you've actually got enough of a buffer for, you're prepared for enough in a way that doesn't hurt you. Because just like rabbits, we die from stress, right? We've got a finite number of heartbeats and we're gone. But conscientious meditation, that's a great thing. I wouldn't want to write unless I was in a healed perspective. So when you're writing your comments in the thread, you're more healed than you think. If you've been patient enough to put up with a person on the camera feeling like this, and instead of just pointing your finger and laughing at me and moving on, if you're actually taking the time to write, irrelevant of really what you're writing. Unless you say, something nasty, please don't write something nasty. I mean, do if it's honest, if that's your process. If you want to put your name on the internet as attacking someone or trying to belittle someone, like that idiot homeless person on the bus, who I literally was going to rip into him. I'm like, dude, he's homeless. He used to play Europe, man. He's one of these, could be like Fatboy Slim. I've seen his YouTube clips. I've seen him fill massive stadiums, or at least playing on the stage in front of massive stadiums, right? We've all got a story. But now he lives under a tree in the park I'm pretty much hanging out in. Sometimes you see him on a bus a little bit drunk. Sometimes, because he knows me enough, because I've stopped and chatted with him on a few occasions, he uses me as a target to outlet his pain, right? I don't need it. I don't need more abuse. And personally, I don't need abuse from people who, my loved ones. And, that might actually hurt. If I've let you into my life, and then you take that position of power, and then you go to abuse me, clearly it's somebody's in a point of hurt. Probably me. If you need to correct my behaviour, apologies. I'll get better. I'll see you in the next video. Well wishes with.